And welcome back to the Delta Center at Salt Lake City, Utah. It is a party and carnival atmosphere. And right now, let's send it to the public address announcer, Dan Roberts.
Ladies and gentlemen, prior to player introductions, please direct your attention to center court, where NBA Commissioner David J. Stern will make a very special presentation.
Carl, this is the good part of my job, being here before your extended family of 20,000 fans and the entire state of Utah, to say thank you for conducting yourself on and off the court in a way that makes us all proud to be associated with the NBA and to be NBA fans. And congratulations for 2 gold medals. Congratulations for 10 All-Star appearances. Congratulations for enormous achievement. But congratulations, Karl Malone, 1996-97 NBA Most Valuable Player.
The oldest MVP in the NBA's history at age 33, Karl Malone, and his wife Kay and family looking on. But that's not the big goal for Karl Malone. He wants a championship, and the first step to that about ready to unfold. And we'll be back with the starting lineups. Game 1 in just a moment.
The NBA playoffs on TNT, brought to you.
Is Bedlam, the Delta Center, with cannons going off, balloons, Karl Malone's picture hanging atop the Delta Center. This crowd is ready for the Western Conference Finals. And here are the starting lineups for Game 1. Matt Maloney and Clyde Drexler in the backcourt for the Houston Rockets. Up front, it's Charles Barkley, Akeem Olajuwon, and Mario Elie. Starting for the Utah Jazz with the best record in the West. In the backcourt, Jeff Hornacek and John Stockton. Karl Malone, Greg Ostertag, and Brian Russell up front. And right now, let's get a word from Brian Burwell.
Well, Dick, if you're into omens, here's one. 1995 Western Conference Finals, Houston versus San Antonio. David Robinson receives his MVP award. David gets lit up for 27 points by Akeem, and Akeem averaged 35 that series. I mentioned that to Akeem before the game, and he said, don't make a big deal out of it. One simple thing to remember, David Robinson was in the way, just like Karl Malone is tonight. Back to you, Dick and Hubie.
All right, that's a good attitude for the dream to have. Again, these teams split the regular season. The Rockets won the first 2 in November, and Utah won the next 2, and both coaches did not give much credence to the regular season records. The Rockets lead in the playoff series 2-1, and the last time they met in '95, Houston won 3-2. The officials tonight, Dick Bavetta, Bob Delaney, and Joe Forte. And we're getting set to start Game 1.
We have 2 different styles of play. When you think of the Utah Jazz, half-court, methodical offense, using their guards to set quite a few screens for their big people. They were last in 3-point attempts during the year, only 11 a game. Now, at the other end, we have power basketball, forcing the double team. When you double team, they kick out. 1/3 of their offense are 3-point shooting. They must hit a high percentage, and they must get back defensively to stop the fast break attack of Utah.
Greg Ostertag, the second-year center from Kansas, 7'2", and he has emerged as a prime shot blocker in the playoffs. Will jump center against Akeem Olajuwon. The Utah Jazz last year lost in 7 games to the Seattle Sonics in the Western Conference semifinals. Seattle having the home court edge. The Jazz, Hubie, have done everything they could this year to make sure everything would work their way, the home court advantage for this.
Well, Dick, they actually have 12 players that they can rotate, and there is not that much of a drop-off on the second unit. Second unit, Utah rotate 5 guys. Houston will only use 3.
So the Utah Jazz with their precision offense and how well they execute it. John Stockton gets the pass underneath, and Ostertag with the layup with the first hoop.
Well, that was just a beautiful UCLA cut, a back screen by Malone. Stockton opens up, did not want to force it, but once you double team, Utah is excellent in cutting to the rim.
And Olajuwon posting up against Ostertag. Ball knocked away by Ostertag, and the steal into the hands of Hornacek. On the turnover, the Utah Jazz with the ball. Stockton with the fadeaway, and the rebound by Mario Elie.
Houston, the #1 defensive rebounding team in the league.
And as Hubie mentioned, the Rockets like to post up, and when the man is open for the 2 threes outside, he'll be there for the threes. This is a team that takes a lot of three-point baskets, but they miss their first shot of the game. Elie is on Hornacek. And there's Hornacek going around a screen, getting an easy layup.
Well, you know, anytime that Utah throws in like that, they were looking for the split. They did not split. Hornacek just did a beautiful baseline cut.
Ryan Russell is guarding Clyde Drexler. Here is Maloney missing a 3, and the rebound into the hands of the Utah Jazz.
In this building, this is what you must fight back.
Stockton misses the scoop layup, but the Jazz maintain possession. They lead it in the early going here, 4-0, with more than a minute and a half gone by in the first. There's the double team, and Ryan Russell for 3 misses, and Elijah on the rebound. Jerry Sloan telling us today that the Jazz will have to hit that outside shot when they double.
In order to keep you honest, you always want to keep the defense honest, even though they are not a big three-point shooting team.
Drexler has Maloney, tries another 3, and he has missed his first 2 from downtown. As the Jazz still leading 4-0, as Hornacek loses his footing, and here is Mario Elie with Stockton on him. The foul, the basket counts, and the Houston Rockets get on the scoreboard after 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Well, Mario Elie and Drexler out in the open floor. Beautiful. Now keep an eye on this. Now watch Hornacek goes baseline. See right there, Elie got caught because he thought they were going to split and they would probably switch. Now here you have the fall down. Now once they get out in the open floor, Drexler and Elie are the 2 guys who really change ends quickly.
Mario Elie, who is shooting 52% from the field, and even better than that from three-point territory, brings the Rockets to within 1.
Now, Mario Elie, one of the premier three-point shooting guys in the league, and then also 5th in foul shooting at 89.
Malone finds Stockton. Karl Malone finds John Stockton. So Ostertag, Hornacek, and Stockton have scored for the Jazz.
That's that same UCLA cut. Now that's twice Stockton has been open.
Barkley with a fadeaway over Karl Malone. Olajuwon gets the offensive rebound, up and under, and a foul. So Olajuwon will go to the line to shoot 2 as the Rockets taking advantage of second shots.
Now during the course of the year, you know, Houston is not a very big offensive rebounding team. They're 24th in the league. But in this series, they've got to crash the boards because Utah are scrambling. When they scramble and double team, Olajuwon and Barkley must step up on the offensive boards.
Hakeem Olajuwon has had double-doubles in all 10 playoff games. Those are his numbers, and he has had some big games against the Jazz this year, scoring 38 and 41 points in 2 out of the 4 meetings.
Well, he'll be a test to the triple-headed center defensively, meaning Ostertag, Carr, and Foster.
Ostertag had picked up the foul. Hornacek hits the jumper. Second basket for Jeff Hornacek, and the Jazz lead by 4. Matt Maloney, the Rockets rookie point guard. Houston 1 for 5 so far, but Olajuwon gets 3 for the layup. So he is going to be a tough load to handle for the Jazz throughout this series.
Well, it's interesting right now. They're not coming quick to double team him, Dick. I'm kind of surprised. But Hakeem came into the lane. Now just watch this beautiful move as he comes into the lane and then hooks, drop steps, goes power baseline.
On the turnover, the Rockets with a chance to tie the game. Clyde Drexler hits his first shot, and does. Drexler, who led the Rockets in Game 7 against the Sonics with 24 points, and we're even at 8.
They love to isolate Drexler on that left side of the floor, one-on-one.
Malone is wide open, and he misses from exactly the point where Hornacek hit his jumper moments ago.
Now they have run that same play 4 times already in the early part of this game in 6 minutes, and they've gotten a good look every time.
And Olajuwon with the fadeaway over Ostertag, a very tough shot over the 7'2" center, and the Rockets lead for the first time tonight, 10-8.
You know, Ostertag dropped his head, Dick, and he shouldn't feel that way.
Hornacek misses from the perimeter, and the Rockets, Olajuwon looking for Ellie down court, nothing there. And Houston, a veteran team. But the big three, Drexler, Barkley, and Olajuwon, how they go, that'll be the Rockets' fortune. Barkley misses a 3, and here come the Jazz, trailing by 2. Here is Karl Malone, open on the baseline, and he ties the score.
Now, Dick, that's the point I've been bringing out. Karl Malone will test Barkley not only in the boxes, but he's going to test him in transition. That is going to be the biggest problem that Barkley's going to have in this series, changing ends defensively to match up with Malone.
Clyde Drexler finding the range from the left side, has hit his second in a row, and the Rockets lead by 2, and Malone hits the deck along with Ellie, and a foul is called.
Once again, Barkley behind the play. Now keep an eye on Stockton. He's looking up front. And you can see Malone knocks this one down. And the play that just happened where we get the foul, once again, Stockton finds Malone in that left lane. Barkley trailing.
Rockets lead 12-10 with just under 7 minutes remaining in the first.
We'd like to show you this UCLA cut that Utah is using. We're going to let it roll right now. Now, right here, we're going to stop it. Now, just watch what happens. Hornacek pops out. Stockton makes the pass. Malone sets a back screen. Stockton rubs his man. Now, he has gotten 3 easy plays here, and the 4th one, Malone stepped back and hit a jump shot. This is what we mean by a UCLA cut. Now, just watch the rub. There it is right there. Now you can go back inside or drop it down, and you can get it either way. Malone can hit the jump shot, or you can get Stockton down inside low.
Karl Malone, who has made a living going to the free throw line so far in the playoffs, hits the first. The personal foul was on Mario Ellie. Those are Malone's playoff numbers. He had 32 points and 20 rebounds in Game 5 of the last series, and he will be the big gun for the Jazz throughout. 12-12 to score. Jerry Sloan, who has never failed to make the playoffs, never failed to have a losing year in 9 seasons with the Utah Jazz. Here is Drexler, who's hit 2 from that spot. Misses. Malone gets the rebound.
I'm kind of surprised he settled for a jumper, Dick. He has not tested Russell off the dribble yet.
But Drexler did hit 2 from out there, but he has remained on the perimeter. There's Malone directing John Stockton. Ostertag tries to save it and tried to call a timeout, but could not. It's a turnover, and it'll be Houston's ball.
Yeah, but Joe Forty, see, Ostertag ran to Joe Forty and said, I call timeout, but Joe Forty had him stepping out of bounds first. Now you're going to see right now there's a collision. Olajuwon's trying to get across right there as Stockton is holding him up to double team. Now when that happened, Ostertag goes right to the front of the rim, misses the ball. Now as he comes here, they're getting him for stepping on the line.
Here is the pick and roll. Olajuwon from Drexler, and the Rockets, who were trailing early, now lead 14-12.
Now that was a beautiful slipping the screen on a screen and roll.
And a whistle and a foul called against the Rockets away from the ball. That'll be the 3rd team foul against Houston, and the foul will be against Matt Maloney.
Now that time Maloney was being rubbed off on another screen. He tried to hold Stockton up. Here's the same play to the left side of the floor. Now they screen across for Malone coming to the ball.
And Malone guarded inside by Barkley. And Malone claiming he was fouled on the play. He has an advantage over Barkley, several inches if he wants to shoot over him. And you mentioned the transition. Here is Hakeem rushing his shot up from the corner. Well defense. Look out. Rebound Ostertag, and Stockton throws the ball away. And that is the 4th turnover by the Jazz, unlike them in their normal way.
Well, that's why we showed at the beginning that they only averaged 14 during the playoffs for an entire game.
Howard Isley, who has done a good job backing up John Stockton, has come into the game at point guard.
Now, this is a normal rotation. They take Stockton out, allow Isley to stay in there. Stockton will start the second quarter with the second group.
Hornacek knocked the ball off of Elijah Wan's foot. Elijah Wan complaining to Joe Forte. And now Bob Delaney comes in and says that it is Houston's ball, so one official overrules the other.
Yeah, well, that's good officiating. You can see that ball was slapped down by Hornacek. It went off Elijah Wan's foot, in my opinion. But that was 2 referees working together.
Malone gets it out of Elijah Wan's hands, and Maloney gets it back. Elijah Wan knocked Malone down to the floor after the ball was knocked away from him. So let's see what happens with those two as this game goes on. Wind down to 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. The Rockets lead by 2. Barkley trying to draw the foul. There was contact, but no foul on the miss.
Yeah, well, see, they're settling now for too many forced jump shots, meaning Barkley and Elijah Wan. They can take advantage of their guys off the dribble or going down inside.
Malone with 4, along with Hornacek, are the top scorers for the Jazz. And with a high arcing jumper, the mailman now with 6 ties the game again with 4:39 to go in the first quarter.
Nick, he can get that shot all night. That's a fadeaway. He's taller. He shoots right up over the top of Barkley.
So the shooting is picked up for both teams. Barkley posting up inside against Malone, goes high off the glass, and a foul is called.
Now, right now, that was a foul on Utah. And Barkley was lucky because Barkley got away with throwing a shoulder into the chest of the defensive player to push him off and then take the shot attempt.
Foul was on Jeff Hornacek and Charles Barkley on the free throw line for the Houston Rockets. Barkley 75% from the line during postseason. And here is Kevin Willis coming into the game, giving Hakeem Olajuwon a rest. Those are Willis's numbers. And he played big when Barkley was out for those 25 games this year. Olajuwon leaves the floor, having scored 7 points.
And right now, Jerry Sloan will counter by bringing Foster in to give Ostertag a blow.
So the second of the 3-headed centers, Greg Foster, comes in. And of course, Antoine Carr also will be in there as well. Foster not yet in the game. He is at the scorer's table. Next dead ball, he'll come in. Rockets by 2 with 4:15 to go in the first quarter. Game 1, best of 7. The Jazz with the home court edge here. Hornacek spinning his way, and the rebound knocked away. Willis let Hornacek steal it from him underneath.
That was a great move by Hornacek. Excellent anticipation. He's a hard-nosed guy. He'll always anticipate down inside and gamble.
There's the double on Malone, and Isley picked up by Ellie. And Isley goes around, blocked by Charles Barkley. Ostertag follows, and that'll drop for him. But the Rockets showed very good defensive rotation before Ostertag got the layup.
If you keep your dribble against Houston in your half-court sets, the majority of times you'll break the defense down and you're able to get to the rim.
Quick double and a repost to Charles Barkley. And here is Drexler for 3. And Clyde Drexler hit his 3rd from outside, his 1st from downtown. And the Rockets have a 3-point lead, their biggest thus far, 19-16.
You're so concerned with Barkley and Olajuwon double teaming. It's difficult sometimes. It's good ball movement to make the necessary rotation.
Brian Russell coming around a screen, and Russell has had a breakout year, averaging 14 points in the playoffs. Coming around a screen in one of the patented plays that the Jazz like to run, and it's a 1-point Houston lead. Willis posting up, and the pass knocked away by Brian Russell. Russell, challenged by Ellie, lays it in. Maloney tried a no-look pass, and Brian Russell knocked it away, and Rudy Tomjanovich calls a timeout.
Now, yeah, that was Russell at his best. He's outstanding in playing the passing lanes, and if he gets a hand on it, he's so quick in the open floor. Mario Ellie tries to take an angle to cut him off, But just watch this move by Russell. He brings it back, and he goes up over the front of the rim.
Before the timeout, the Jazz regaining the lead on Brian Russell's steal and basket. And we have a game every night in the conference finals on TNT. Tomorrow night, Game 1, the Heat and the Bulls from Chicago. We'll be back with Game 2 Wednesday night between these teams. And then Game 2 between Miami and Chicago Thursday. And then Game 3 in Houston between the Jazz and the Rockets on Friday.
Now keep an eye on Drexler popping out here. Maloney makes the pass. And then you're going to see Olajuwon come up and set a screen. It looks like a screen and roll, but Olajuwon will release. We call this slipping the screen. Now just keep an eye on it now. The defense relax a second. Watch Ostertag steps out. That's what you do. You change your direction and go slip the screen.
Sedale Threatt, the veteran who was signed March 1st for the rest of the year, and a lot of playoff experience comes in. Charles Barkley muscles his way in for the basket, and that is his first of the game after missing his first 3.
Now Karl Malone was talking. He wanted an offensive foul that time. I tell you, Barkley's getting away with banging into the defender, causing space, and then overpowering you.
Now just keep an eye. See right there. See, Karl Malone wanted that call right there, and then because of the upper body strength, he would never get that second move. He wanted the first move.
Rockets by 1 as we wind down to 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Howard Isley misses from downtown, and Greg Foster gets the offensive board. That's something that the Rockets did not give up much of during the year.
I'm kind of surprised because that is at least their 4th second shot opportunity.
One thing the Rockets have been able to do is limit you to 1 shot. And there is Isley missing from the corner. And the rebound into the hands of Mario Elie. Rockets by 1. Kevin Willis posting up against Foster. Good pass to Charles Barkley. And Barkley coming alive now has 6 points. And the Rockets are up by 3.
That was touche. Barkley beat Malone down the floor. Malone thought that Barkley was going to stop at the 3-point line. He put on the afterburners.
What a tone that has been set for this series in the first game. And a missed shot by Russell, long range, and Russell gets back to make the play, and a loose ball foul has been called.
See, once again, Russell getting there defensively. Now just keep an eye on this right now. Now you're going to see a backdoor by Barkley right from the top. Karl Malone late getting there.
Clyde Drexler called for the loose ball foul. So Houston up by 3 with 1:15 to go in the first quarter. Remember, the Rockets were one of 3 teams to beat the Jazz here at the Delta Center this year. The other teams were the Sonics and the Phoenix Suns. Pass into Isley, and it's knocked away. And another Utah turnover. Very surprising that the Utah Jazz turning it over as much as they've done 6 times.
Yeah, Karl Malone was going on a back screen through the lane, and he slipped. And Jeff Hornacek already had thrown the pass. Under a minute to go, and Drexler with a fall away. And not a good percentage shot for Drexler, falling off the floor. Here comes Hornacek, spots up the 3, short with it, and over the top. We'll give it over to the Rockets. If I didn't know any better, you know, Utah is reminding me of Houston. They're coming down, shooting up 3s, not getting into their half-court sets, which have been very good to them. I think right now, Jerry Sloan is, got to regroup these guys at the end of this quarter. They're not showing patience. They're rushing their shots at 0 for 4 from 3-point territory. Sedale Threatt with an air ball, and it's last touched by Mario Elie. So with 24.7 seconds to go, the Utah Jazz down by 3, playing for the last shot. But a very close first quarter. Utah led by 4 early, and Houston matching their biggest lead of 3 now. Now, right now, Utah is in a 1-4 set. The one thing you have to watch out is a flash high screen and roll. Here it comes right now with Karl Malone. And Isley gets the screen, doesn't get the shot. And the final seconds as Elie misses. So Isley took several shots, came up empty, 0 for 4. But Hakeem Olajuwon off to a good start with 7 points on 3 for 5 shooting. And after 1 quarter here in Utah, the Rockets lead the Jazz by a score of 23-20. And welcome back to the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. And the Houston Rockets lead by 3 as we start the second quarter. We'd like to show you a telestrator. This play has been open all night long. Now, we're going to move it forward. Now, Karl Malone is going to set this screen. We're going to stop it right here. Now, you're going to see the screen by Malone. Here's the defender. As Isley comes over the top, the defender is going back, which we call double spacing. This shot has been wide open throughout the first quarter, and Utah has missed it 5 times, okay? But it is there. At the end of the first quarter, Houston shooting 45, Utah 41. Houston 1 for 5 in threes, Utah 0 for 5.
And a ball tipped away, and Olajuwon loses it out of bounds. And it's going to be Utah's ball. Shandon Anderson, a very impressive rookie from Georgia, who was the 54th pick in the draft. As you look at the shooting numbers in the first quarter, has come in the game for the Utah Jazz. And Eddie Johnson, the 35-year-old veteran three-point shooter, has checked in for the Rockets.
Now, both teams have 6 turnovers, Dick. Totally uncharacteristic for Utah to have that many so early in the game.
And Antoine Carr, who's the 3rd of the 3-headed centers, is in 2 on the shot clock. John Stockton has to rush the shot. So once again, the Jazz forced to rush their shots. And unlike their style in the regular year that garnered them 64 wins and 7 out of 8 so far in the playoffs. Here is Hakeem Olajuwon back in the game. He's posting up against Antoine Carr, and he's fouled. Foul is on Antoine Carr, and Hakeem will go to the line.
In that first quarter, Houston attempted 4 foul shots, Utah 2. Now that's a significant point here when you have so many guys who can post up, meaning Malone and then Barkley and Olajuwon at the other end. That tells you that guys are settling for fadeaway jump shots rather than taking the ball to the basket strong.
Chris Morris is in the game now for the Jazz, and as Hubie mentioned, they'll go 9 and 10 deep. The Rockets usually will go 8 in postseason. So right now, on the floor for Utah, Antoine Carr, Greg Foster, Morris, Anderson, and Stockton. So only one member of the starting 5 in there for the Jazz. Olajuwon hits 1 out of 2, and the Rockets lead by 4.
And the Jazz rotation, Dick, this is normal. Jerry Sloan has a lot of faith in his bench.
Chris Morris, who played 7 years with the Nets before coming over last year to the Jazz. Stockton gets a screen and hits the shot. He was wide open.
Well, that time he didn't double space. They went under the screen, and all they did was just step back. That's an easy pop shot for Stockton.
Jazz had missed 6 in a row before Stockton connected from the perimeter. Here is Willis, and he travels as he made a spin to the baseline.
Now right now, see, they're looking because they're saying, hey, the one ref almost called a foul, a push. Now keep an eye on the push here, right here. Now as that goes, you see the elbow in the back on the push-off put Willis down.
Kevin Willis and Antoine Carr played 5+ years together with the Atlanta Hawks. Here's John Stockton for 3, and that is the first 3-point basket tonight for the Jazz, and they regain the lead.
Rudy Tomjanovich says, don't go under, go over the top. That's 2 for 2 for Stockton.
And Hakeem comes back and no basket. A foul before the shot. And the foul will be against Greg Foster. That's his first. That is a second team foul. And less than 2 minutes gone by for the Utah Jazz here in the second quarter. Again, the Jazz go inside, double team on Olajuwon, and Drexler misses from the perimeter. Drexler in the first quarter had 7 points and was effective from outside. Morris guarded by Drexler. Plenty of time on the shot clock.
Screen and roll with Foster.
And there is Stockton, leaves behind for Morris. And the long rebound into the hands of Greg Foster, and his turnaround hits.
Well, that's what they like about Foster. He can make that jump shot 15 to 18 feet facing, quick feet, and he helps you on the boards.
Hasn't played much in the playoffs, but we'll see a lot more action against Hakeem Olajuwon. Utah now on a 7-0 run, leading by 3. Here is Willis, and Willis called for the offensive foul.
You can see when he dropped the basketball for the dribble, he stepped out, and he definitely landed a blow to open himself up. Now watch this ball rebound to the left. Foster comes in, and as he goes to back it out, he says, hey, this is a 16-foot jumper. I can knock that down.
And that is the 8th turnover by the Rockets thus far.
We'd like to show you a key play in this game. John Stockton is right here with the basketball. Foster's going to set a screen. Mario Elie, the defender right here, once again goes behind. Stockton then just takes the jump shot there. 2 plays in a row, 2 open shots. Now just watch this. As Stockton starts to come off, Elie goes underneath. Stockton steps back, knocks in a shot. Rudy Tomjanovich jumps up and says, don't go under. You can see him right on the court, and he says, follow over the top.
You can see the Rockets struggling in their last few possessions. Matt Maloney has come back in the game for Houston at point guard, and Shandon Anderson hits from outside. Anderson shooting 62% in the playoffs, and the rookie from Georgia, certainly a find for this Utah team. Maloney being chased by Stockton now, leaving Olajuwon free, and Olajuwon passes up the shot. Foster defending him. 7 on the shot clock. Willis against Carr again, the former teammates in Atlanta, and a foul call against Antoine Carr. That'll be 2 for 1, that is, against Carr.
Now, Antoine Carr, see, he's gotten away with it. See, Antoine Carr's talking to Dick Pavetta and saying, hey, look, I'm allowed to use my forearms. You're allowed to use your forearms as long as you do not deliver a blow. And that's what's happened here.
Jazz leading by 6, and they've done it with only 1 starter in the lineup, John Stockton. Their bench has played big in the last several minutes. And there is Willis with a feint and a hook shot. Kevin Willis with his first points of the game, and it's 30-26. Olajuwon with 8, leading Houston. John Stockton has 7 to top the Jazz.
Now there's that screen. If you notice, Maloney came right over the top.
Houston foul, but first let's go back to these 2.
Now, they've been going to Willis quite a few times down here. He's got to make it happen. He's taking a lot of time. You see the jump hook? That's his pet move. It's got to happen for him, but he's got to also change up. Once in a while, drop step, come back to the baseline. There was Stockton trying to split the screen and roll.
Here's Chris Morris on the feed from Stockton. And Morris getting his first point. So the bench going to the work, outscoring the Rockets 7-2 right now. That last foul was on Willis, his second. Willis again posting up against Carr. Stockton faking a double team, and Willis this time misses the short hook shot.
See, if he's going to labor like that, kick the ball out, repost in the paint, they can come right back to you.
Jazz by 6 with 7:43 to go.
Yes!
Greg Foster, 6'11", hitting a 3, and Rudy T calls the timeout.
Houston has wasted too many possessions going to Willis and coming up with nothing. They've got to go possibly to a little bit more movement, or also get Olajuwon involved. And we said that Foster can knock it down, Dick.
2 for 3 in the regular season, making his first in the playoffs. And the Jazz leading by 9. Biggest lead of the game for the Jazz, 35-26. Well, they were separated by the forces of evil. Now they have been reunited in the name of the law, and they're cleaning up the streets of Chinatown. Stand your ground with David Carradine in Kung Fu. The legend continues. See the series premiere tomorrow at 7 p.m. on TNT. Let's check in with Brian Burwell.
Dick, it was an interesting little thing in that huddle at timeout in Houston. Rudy T let Charles Barkley do all the talking, and he complained to the team about not taking advantage of the advantage they had over that Utah second unit. Back to you on the court side.
Absolutely. To what tune is the Jazz doing the number?
Well, you look at it, Dick. Houston bench 2 points. Utah's bench 10.
And the miss from the corner by Shandon Anderson. 35-26. And just as you were talking, Foster with 5, including a 3. And Houston only 2, so the bench has come up big. Stockton has been the only starter in there during this 15-2 run. And a 3 by Eddie Johnson. So the 35-year-old veteran Eddie Johnson hitting and cutting the lead to 6.
He's a main three-point shooter. He's been struggling with his shot, but you know that he is not going to pass any up.
9 years in the playoffs for Eddie Johnson. Started the year with the Indiana Pacers, traded to Denver, waived after not playing any game, and the Rockets needed to have his three-point shooting off the bench.
Well, in there in his career, 14 years, Dick, he scored over 18,000 points, won the six-man award 1 year with 21 points and 9 rebounds. He's been here. He's been in a lot of games.
And a foul on the Rockets. Matt Maloney just picked up his second moments ago. And now another foul on Houston, their third team foul, this one against Eddie Johnson.
Now that happened down on baseline action. Eddie Johnson is playing Shandon Anderson. Here's a screen across, high screen and roll.
Stockton dipping in, and Anderson knocks it to Foster, off the glass. Greg Foster, but it was Shandon Anderson who kept it alive for the Utah Jazz, and they're very active here in this first quarter, leading now 37-29. Foster is 3 for 3 from the field, and now called for a foul, and arguing with Dick Pavetta, John Stockton getting him away.
Now this is a loose ball foul. I mean, a loose ball situation where the ball is knocked out to the left-hand side of the floor. Foster just takes his time and banks this baby right in.
Olajuwon on the double, out to Eddie Johnson, rims the basket. 8-point lead for the Utah Jazz with under 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. John Stockton guarded by Matt Maloney. Maloney hasn't scored, but he'll have his hands full against Stockton. Here is Chris Morris, and Foster hot so far, and misses his first shot in 4 attempts.
I'm just kind of shocked at the second shot attempts by Utah. They're getting every long rebound. Houston's 5 guys are getting caught below the foul line area.
Here is Olajuwon with a fadeaway, and he had to get it over Anderson and Foster. So Hakeem now, the first player in double figures, has 10 for the Rockets.
Well, Hakeem's not getting to the line like he has in past years. He's only getting 5 foul shot attempts in the 10 previous playoff games per game.
Here is the screen and roll, and Foster, who's playing very well since coming in for Greg Ostertag, is fouled.
Now this is just a nice move by Hakeem. Watch how he steps in and then he steps back with that beautiful fadeaway. At the other end of the floor, the master at the screen and roll. He just is impeccable in regards to picking out either time to shoot, time to step back, take the 3, or time to deliver the pass. And you love guys who can make the pass that is catchable and it continue in your motion to make the shot an easy shot attempt for you.
Karl Malone back in the game, and the Utah Jazz opening up a impressive lead considering that Malone was on the bench. Want to remind you, tomorrow night at 8 on TNT, Game 1, the Miami Heat won 3 in a row, only the 6th team in history to come back from a 3-1 deficit, beating the Knicks against the Chicago Bulls, who have had a solid rest of a week. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Foster hitting both free throws, and the Jazz lead by 8, 39-31. And what's amazing, Hubie, is that with Karl Malone out, the Jazz outscored the Rockets 19-8. Here's Olajuwon in the lane, and Olajuwon now with 12. He had 7 in the first quarter. And a whistle and another Houston foul. That'll be the 5th and put him in the penalty.
I'm pretty sure they just hit Rudy Tomjanovich with a T for running out on the floor when that call was made. Rudy got up off the bench, sprinted to the baseline, was on the floor, going to the referee who made the call.
And Mario Ely's second foul on the technical. John Stockton, one of the better free throw shooters in the NBA, misses it. Stockton 77% from the line in the playoffs, more below his normal percentage, which has been in the 80s.
Yeah, during the course of the year, he's 85% foul shooter throughout his career, anytime between 84 and 88%.
So a correction, that was the 4th team foul, so not a shooting situation. Next one, of course, will be. Stockton in the lane, well covered by Maloney. And Foster travels. Greg Foster traveling, but he has played well, as the rest of the Jazz bench has here in the second quarter.
The referees are not allowing Houston, as a guard sets a screen for a big man to come across the lane, they're not allowing the defender to step and hold the guy up. That's where all the balls are coming from.
Olajuwon draws the foul, and so he will go to the line. And the personal foul against Brian Russell, his first foul. The Rockets led the Jazz by 3 after 1 quarter, fell behind by as many as 9, and trail by 6. Hakeem Olajuwon, and you want to talk about a well-decorated star throughout his career here.
Well, you look in '94, he was MVP, he was Defensive Player of the Year, and then he was MVP of the finals. We know 12-time All-Star. You know, and you just look at all of his accomplishments, never mind how many times he's made the first team All-NBA. It just seems that you pencil him in almost every year.
And Hakeem is 2 for 6 from the free throw line, so he has been shaky from the stripe, and the Jazz still leading by 6 after he missed both of them.
As poorly as Houston is playing, they make their foul shots, the game is tied.
Anderson, defended by Olajuwon, has to pass it out with 7 on the shot clock. Stockton looking for the foul, and good defense by Eddie Johnson at the baseline. Matt Maloney, and a blocking foul is called against Brian Russell. Brown wanted a charge, but Russell is called for his second in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, Maloney had changed his direction when it was slicing to the middle of the floor that time. Russell tried to get there. It was a real good try by Russell. And keep an eye on this here. See, Russell starts the move, and he catches him right there. Now, the old story is it a flop? Did he just get a piece of you, or what? They're saying that you were not there, and that you put your left knee out and caught him to make him fall on the floor.
That is the 15th foul, and so the Jazz in the penalty. Maloney misses the first. Shandon Anderson goes out of the game, replaced by Jeff Hornacek, and Greg Ostertags is back in. Matt Maloney's numbers averaging 14 points in the playoffs, and Maloney with a couple of 26-point outings in the early playoff games, and the Rockets down by 5 with 4 minutes to go in the first half. Here is Hornacek, misses the layup. He was wide open, and Stockton gave him a great pass. So the Rockets with a chance now to close the gap. They were down by 9, and Hakeem is pushed by Ostertag, who picks up his second.
In defense of Jeff Hornacek at the other end of the floor, Dick, he thought that he was hit as he cut off the screen. That forced him to stagger, so when he made the catch, he couldn't take it up. Now, this is Hakeem making a move here. Nice move by Hakeem. You can see Ostertag put his foot out.
Hakeem was rubbing his left thigh and right above his left knee as he rubs it right there as Olajuwon makes the first free throw. The Rockets have not been effective from the line, although Hakeem makes both of these. They're 8 of 13 from the line, and once again the Jazz leading 39-36. So Houston cutting it down. Brian Russell very nearly losing control with 12 on the shot clock. Ostertag setting a screen for Stockton. 6 on the clock. Russell with a fall away, and Olajuwon tips it to Stockton. New clock for the Jazz, and Eddie Johnson called for the shove on John Stockton.
Eddie Johnson, yeah, he was out there with his arms up. He did not want Stockton to be able to make a pass back through the lane. Watch Eddie put his arms up. See, now he's bumping right there. Now you see Stockton use that forearm. Now Eddie Johnson, see, he's frustrated. See, it depends upon whether the ref got it before he put his arms up. But you saw the separation. That was Stockton separating you with that left forearm.
Second foul on Eddie Johnson. Stockton with 8 points. Malone with 6, all in the first quarter, but the leading scorer, Greg Foster, an unlikely source for the Jazz with 9 points. Hakeem has 14. He leads the Rockets, who trail by 5. 3:15 remaining in the first half. Nick Stockton, Hubie Brown, and Ryan Burwell with us. Barkley misses from the perimeter. Barkley had a good shot possibility. He had scored 6. 3 minutes to go now in the first half. And underneath, Malone fouled. Very tough to stop Karl Malone without a foul when he gets good position underneath.
That was just a beautiful ball fake by Malone. He caught Olajuwon up in the air. If you've been watching closely, any ball that is passed into the lane, Olajuwon will leave his man and double team, go for the block.
The NBA playoffs on TNT, brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And by the new Dodge. It's about change.
Utah Jazz leading 41-36 with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. The Jazz defeating the LA Clippers in 3 straight, and then an impressive 5-game victory over the Lakers, so they had a week's rest. Meanwhile, the Houston Rockets, after disposing of the Minnesota Timberwolves 3 in a row, defeated the Sonics, who kept coming in that series, and the defending Western Conference champs went down on Saturday at Houston in 7.
In the early going, Dick, 2 things are hurting Houston. The fact that Utah already has 5 offensive rebounds, and then also Houston's inability to make the foul shots. And that would, if you could balance that off, everything is fine. Houston's in good shape.
Karl Malone. And he misses the first free throw. Malone has gone on the line. This will only be his 4th attempt coming up.
Well, during the course of the 10 previous playoff games, Karl Malone is averaging 12.5 foul shot attempts per game. That is a ton.
And Karl Malone gets his first point of the second quarter, has 7 in the game. So Malone has been quiet for the Utah Jazz, yet they lead 42-36. Barkley guarded by Malone, and Drexler defended by Brian Russell. Malone does a good job of switching off on Drexler. Poster tag on Hakeem, who backs up with 7 on the shot clock, puts it up near the foul line, and the rebound by Hornacek.
In the playoffs, Hornacek is the second leading rebounder behind Malone at 6 a game for Utah.
Brian Russell averaging nearly 5 rebounds a game. So they're getting the boards from a lot of different sources. Are the Jazz. Ball kicked away, and it's last touched by the Rockets.
Once you penetrate that lane, you have the problem of Olajuwon, Drexler, and Barkley running at you. And right now, Utah's got to clear up their spacing. If they clean up the spacing, they're going to get better shots.
8 on the shot clock. Hornacek defended by Mario Elie. Now 5. Hornacek is going to have to rush the shot, and he hits. Time is running down. Jeff Hornacek, the second leading scorer for the Jazz in the playoffs.
That's one of his favorite horse shots, okay, when he's shooting around at home.
Mario Elie leaves it for Drexler for 3. And Drexler going after the loose ball. Barkley had it, but Drexler got in his way, and now the Jazz coming back. Malone down low, and Malone knocked away by Olajuwon. Barkley down at the other end, just sitting under the basket.
Well, right now they should double team the ball. Barkley still is nowhere near half court.
1:38 remaining in the first half. 12 on the shot clock. An 8-point Utah lead. Illegal defense called against the Utah Jazz. That's the first of the game.
Anytime Hornacek is on Drexler, Drexler should post them up and take them. Now keep an eye right here. Watch Malone, Barkley. Barkley does a little bit of a flop, and then you see once again Olajuwon coming in for the shot block.
Both teams in the penalty. Poster tag defending against Hakeem, who hits 16 points for Hakeem Olajuwon. 6 of 9 from the field, and the Utah lead is 6.
His ability to step into you, fade into the shot, and then shoot up over the top is the key so far in this half.
Stockton going in with a layup. Poster tag misses the tip.
Gotta make those big fellas.
And the loose ball, Malone comes up with it. And a shoving foul.
Watch out,
Malone.
Give him the
Warned by Bob Delaney. Very close to getting a technical foul as Karl Malone. On the night, he received the MVP award from Commissioner David Stern.
Yeah, Karl Malone is very upset here right now. Now keep an eye right here. Now Osadek just misses this one. That's a bunny. And here's another easy one. You can see he just had 3 easy shots at the basket. Now once this ball comes down, see, he caught Barkley with that elbow right in the jaw.
So Dale 3 checks in for the Rockets, and a great spin baseline move for Hakeem Olajuwon, and he has been a one-man gang for the Rockets with 18 points. It's 44-40. He has 11 here in the second quarter.
And as he's showing moves, Dix, he's opened up the arsenal tonight.
He's saying to the Jazz, give me a 5-headed center. It won't stop me. Malone fouled by Olajuwon as he hits the floor.
Now, that was a hard foul.
That'll be his second personal foul.
Now that was a hard foul, and you can see Malone said something to Olajuwon. Olajuwon said something right back to him. That was a hard foul. But you know and I know that they're not going to allow Malone to make an easy layup. They're going to foul him, force him to make the foul shots.
Karl Malone finally with a half smile on his face. The mailman with 7 points thus far in this game. 2 baskets and 3 of 4 from the line. Kevin Willis getting set to come in the game, and Rudy T upset with a myriad of things so far in this first half. Malone makes good on the first. Coming up on the Nike halftime report, the Lakers' Byron Scott will join Ernie Johnson and Reggie Theus for first half analysis and a preview of tomorrow night's Heat-Bulls game. That's coming up on the Nike halftime report.
We're seeing an awful lot of energy at both ends of the floor defensively by these teams. They're 2 outstanding defensive clubs from the top of the circle down. We're seeing a lot of body contact. And you know that's just going to be part of this series because we got some big people.
Yes. So Hakeem on the bench. Willis replaces him. And Antoine Carr has gone in the game. And a steal. Drexler lost the ball in a 3-on-2. Now the Rockets get back. And Hornacek, Weissly, and Malone is on the floor and shaken up.
Yeah, he collided with Barkley. He fell to the floor and he hurt his right wrist. Now he's smarting right now. Now it might be on the inside of his palm or his wrist. Now this right here, you can see Drexler's got to be able to take Shandon Anderson and also Russell. Now keep an eye to the middle of the court. You're going to see Karl Malone at the left of your screen. And as they're going, keep a look up at the top, right there. See Malone, whether he clipped the heel of Barkley or whether he just slipped, he falls down. Now Malone left the game and is going into the locker room right now.
So he'll be out. Only 15 seconds remaining. Antoine Carr misses the free throw. And Othello Harrington has come in the game. Harrington has played in only 4 playoff games, averaging a little over 2 minutes. And Stephen Howard has come in. So both teams going a lot deeper into their benches than they've had so far in the playoffs, and more than they had intended.
Well, right now you just don't want Olajuwon to pick up a cheap foul. That's why Harrington's in the game right now.
Carr makes 1 out of 2. The Jazz by 6 after trailing by 3 after 1 quarter. Charles Barkley on the perimeter, guarded by Howard, and Barkley misses from outside. And chance for another shot. John Stockton fires it up. Oh, wow! John Stockton, and we've seen that before. We have seen it before. John Stockton hits a 3 at the horn.
Now keep an eye on this. He banks this in. How about this one? Beautiful.
And a 9-point lead, matching the biggest lead enjoyed by the Utah Jazz. So after 1 half of play, the score, the Jazz 49, the Rockets 40.
Well, 10 of John Stockton's 12 points came in the second period, including the buzzer beater off the glass, giving Utah a 49-40 lead over Houston, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. In Atlanta, it's time for the Nike halftime report. Along with the gunner Reggie Theus, Ernie Johnson, and our guest for the night. He's got 3 championship rings, and only 4 guys have made more playoff appearances than the Lakers' Byron Scott. Once again, nice to have you with us tonight, Byron.
Thanks again, Ernie.
You watch the first half of this game, and the Utah bench kind of stands out, does it not?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, one of the things that we talked about early in this series is the fact that both of these teams were going to come out and play the type of basketball that everybody was familiar with. It wasn't going to be anybody fooling anybody out here. Houston knows exactly what Utah's going to do. Utah knows exactly what Houston's going to do. But the difference has been the bench. You know, Utah took out some of their starters, came in with some fresh meat, and they just started running around and creating problems, and they went on a 15-5. You know, they outscored Houston's bench 15-5, and that's the difference in the game right now.
That's kind of how I felt when he guarded me when we played together.
Fresh meat. Yeah, right. Your take on the first half here. Nobody can guard Hakeem Olajuwon. That's evident.
I told you, 25 shots, Ernie. The guy has to get in those numbers because nobody can guard him. We got some video that's going to back this up. Right here, Utah's a little lazy and getting to the double team, and of course, Ostertag cannot guard Hakeem down there. He's got too many moves. And then right here, as Byron talked about, the bench play. Notice John Stockton out on the floor with the the bench players. With the bench players. And that's by design because he comes out, Ernie, with about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter so that he can play with those guys in the second quarter. By design, by Coach Sloan.
Key reserves for Utah.
Guys who are very necessary for a team.
49-40 is the halftime count. Utah's up over Houston. We're with you every night this week until our playoff coverage concludes after Friday's play. We start every night at 8 o'clock with a half-hour pregame show. Michael and the Bulls host Miami tomorrow night in Game 1 of the Eastern Finals. On Wednesday, it's Game 2 in the West between the teams you're watching tonight. Coverage starts at 8. Thursday night from Chicago, Game 2 between the Heat and the Bulls, and we'll wrap it up Friday night as the Jazz and the Rockets move to Houston for Game 3. What time are we on the air, folks? 8 o'clock with a half-hour pregame. And when the Nike halftime report continues, this is what the Miami Heat have to look forward to in the Eastern Conference Finals. His Airness and the Bulls starting a best-of-7 with the Heat tomorrow night. Preview next. They have played 24 minutes at the Delta Center, where Utah is perfect in the postseason. They lead 49-40 over the Rockets, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, as the Nike halftime report rolls on. This is the 4th time the Miami Heat have made the playoffs, and the 3rd time that they'll run into Chicago. The Bulls took them out in first-round sweeps in '92 and '96, and tomorrow night they'll tip off the Eastern Conference Finals in Chicago.
They feel confident they can beat us, you know, and we don't feel that we're invulnerable at all, by all means. I mean, I think we feel that we are vulnerable if we don't play our type of basketball. So I think we go into the fact knowing that that's the case. But we do know if we play our game, we shouldn't worry about anybody.
I guess we're anxious for this series to begin. As a team, we certainly are, and we're glad it's starting tomorrow. It has been long enough for us to be off, and we hope our competitive edge is still there.
We just got to get ourselves ready, empty out the Knicks series. We spent a good hour today just discussing strategy and some of the things we want to do, and get up there and get refreshed and play.
Byron Scott, we'll talk about Tim Hardaway here in a second, about the Miami Heat, and you see what a spark plug he has been in the games that they win. Nearly 22 points a game, 37% from way outside, and assist-to-turnover ratio, of course, much better when they're winning than when they're losing. And tomorrow night, hit the air at 8 o'clock. Tip around 8:30, Chicago and Miami. A lot of heat on this guy, and I guess because when they win, he is the guy who makes them go. Alonzo Mourning has struggled at times, but if Timmy Hardaway is not shooting the ball well, not getting things done, Miami's not going to win.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. A lot of heat on this guy.
Yeah, I almost busted
Go ahead, you can do that.
Hey, Timmy is this team. He is their leader. He is their main man. He's their go-to guy. And if Timmy's not playing well, this team has no chance. So Timmy has to play 4 great games in order for this team to have a chance to beat the Chicago Bulls.
Playing in his hometown of Chicago, that's going to fire him up a little bit.
No question.
What's your take on this thing? Miami got a shot?
Well, you know, I like what Michael Jordan says. If we play our game, we don't have to worry about anybody. Now, what he means by that is that if Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman are playing their games, in other words, Tony causes major league matchup problems, and Dennis is their inside presence. He has to handle that part of the game. We have to assume Michael and Scotty and those guys are going to do their jobs, but that is their total game. I don't think Miami can handle the Bulls. I'm almost say sweep.
Oh, my goodness. Miami only allowing 85 points a game in the playoffs, have not allowed 100 points in a game yet. We'll see if Chicago makes a dent in that tomorrow night. Back to put the finishing touch on the Nike halftime. Yeah, he said sweep. Halftime report in just a second. Hakeem Olajuwon, big first half. He's got 18, but they're down 9. Nine-point lead over Houston. Reggie, Grasshopper, take it away.
Yo, give me that garage.
Welcome back to the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. Game 1 of the West Finals. The Jazz leading 49-40 thanks to a John Stockton 3 at the buzzer. And that matches the biggest lead for the Utah Jazz. Let's take a look at halftime statistics. Both teams shooting under 45%. Both teams struggling from the free throw line. But look at the rebounding story, particularly the offensive boards, which is why the Jazz have 8 more shots than the Rockets, and that looms large. And Hubie, while Karl Malone hasn't scored a lot of points, he and Ostertag have done a great job off the boards for the Jazz.
Well, Karl Malone only has 5 shot attempts, Dick. Stockton is doing a great job, you know, with his 12 points and then the 6 assists. But at the other end, Houston, 2 for 10 in threes. That's a very bad number for them, and 10 turnovers. But, you know, they're still hanging right here. It's not out of the question.
Karl Malone with 8 points on the 2 for 5 shooting. In fact, Charles Barkley 2 for 7, so that the big power forward matchup, the shooting percentages aren't there. But you said at the beginning, and of course everyone knows that the big three have to deliver for the Rockets.
Yeah, and you can see it there. Olajuwon with 18. The rest of the starters only have 17. Barkley is 2 for 7. Drexler is 3 for 7. So you can see they're not going to get it done unless these two guys step up, because the peripheral guys, Ellie, and then also, here we go. You can see the nice hook by Akeem, a great baseline move by Akeem, and then the in the shoulder, the educated shoulder move, and then the fadeaway jump shot. Just beautiful. But I want to go back to that other point. Ellie and Matt Maloney are only 1 for 5. They say, why is that a big deal? Utah doing an excellent job not giving them the 3-point shot attempts.
And right now, let's check in with Brian Burwell.
Okay, Dick, injury report, Karl Malone is fine. He just jammed his hand a little bit. He will play in the second half. Both coaches talked about they wanted to see more patience on offense. One interesting thing in the Houston locker room at halftime, Kevin Willis came out almost maybe a minute into the halftime. He was upset about something, and I can imagine it had a carryover from that conversation that went on during that timeout in the first half about lack of scoring from the bench.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. And the bench, of course, the key for the Utah Jazz when they took their big 15-2 edge, it was the bench.
Yeah, the bench 15-5 in points. The difference, Utah's bench has 11 shots. The Houston bench, they only had 5 shots.
And there is a 3-point miss by Elliott. As you mentioned, the Rockets live by the 3-point shot, and they continue to struggle from downtown.
Well, they're now 2 for 11. We told you, if they're going to get off 25-26, they've got to make 8 or 9.
Malone working against Barkley with a fall away at the baseline, and Charles defensed it well. So the Houston Rockets with Matt Maloney at the point, Clyde Drexler in the backcourt with Barkley, Olajuwon, and Ellie up front. Barkley trying to get it going now. He did not get many shots in that first half. Double team on Charles, lost the ball, and a foul is called. A hold called against the Jazz, and it'll be on Malone. It'll be the second on Karl.
Now they're not double teaming Barkley until he starts to dribble and make his move. Then you'll see, here comes the double. Now watch Barkley. See, he was fouled. Could have called foul on both guys.
Matt Maloney misses from the perimeter, and Drexler and Stockton going after it. Drexler won that skirmish, and a new possession for Houston.
One of the very few that they've won and on a loose ball. Utah getting all the loose balls in this game.
Double on Barkley, and here's Matt Maloney has the ball knocked away, and a foul call against Hornacek. So the Jazz pick up 2 early fouls here in the third quarter.
Jeff gambling that time, trying to get Maloney from the rear. We call that a deflection. Just watch, see, he reached right down inside there, grabbed him right by the wrist.
Maloney with 1 point in the game. Drexler open after the double team, misses, and Ostertag gets the rebound. Ostertag doing a good job off the glass. That is his 8th rebound of the game. John Stockton misses one off the glass. He made a long 3 at the buzzer and missed the layup off the glass here in the third quarter. Still a 9-point lead as Maloney is fouled.
See, I like that. I'd like to see Matt Maloney do that more often. He can take Stockton because Stockton likes to gamble on you. Just keep the ball away and then make a strong move to the rim. That way you're making John play at both ends. At the other end, when he missed that layup, Dick, he put the shoulder right into Maloney's chest and then threw that fade off the glass. He was stunned that he missed it.
More than a minute and a half gone by in the third, and no scoring yet here in the third quarter. Here is Hakeem going baseline against Ostertag.
Good call. Nick Pivetta all over that call.
The pushing foul, and Ostertag picking up his 3rd personal foul. Keep in mind that the Jazz have both Foster and Carr to play center as well.
Anytime that Olajuwon rolls to the baseline right there, you can see he pushed off with his arms.
14 fouls on the Jazz, and we haven't completed 2 minutes yet of this third quarter. The next foul will put them in the penalty. Ostertag reaching out, kicked away. It'll be Utah ball. Good play by Ostertag denying the pass.
In the LA series, Ostertag had an incredible stat. He blocked a shot every 7 minutes that he was on the floor. Now there you can see his long arms knock that pass away for a deflection.
And Karl Malone with a fadeaway. He had plenty of room. Malone with 10 points. He had 6 in the first quarter, so he has yet to explode scoring-wise, but the Jazz are up by 11. Their biggest lead, 51-40. Drexler has it knocked away. Utah very aggressive defensively here in the third. Maloney open for 3. Hits from the corner. Matt Maloney with his first from downtown. He's 1 for 5.
In threes, Maloney 1 for 4. Drexler 1 for 4. They've got to step up here now and shoot a better percentage.
Mario Elie as well, who missed a 3 to start this third quarter. Stockton going strong, beating Ostertag. Stockton with the assist. Ostertag giving the Jazz a 10-point lead.
When you are a big man and you run without the ball, you love to play with guards who can deliver the pass. First of all, that it can be caught, and then you can finish the play. Beautiful pass by Stockton.
Here is that extra pass off the double. Elie to Olajuwon. Olajuwon trying to get room. And when you say that Ostertag is big, he's big.
Yes, he is. He takes up a lot of space. The arms are up. And if you notice, he's got Akeem throwing that fadeaway.
8.5 remaining in the third quarter. The Jazz leading most of the way, trying to take a 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 Eastern Conference Final. Winner goes on to the NBA Finals, something the Jazz have never achieved, and Stockton and Malone have never achieved.
The last 2 times down, Barkley has gotten Malone to shoot that fadeaway. He's been behind the backboard, and he's caught the side of the backboard 2 times now.
Pass out from Olajuwon to Elie, and a steal by John Stockton. Tough pass to make, and Stockton anticipated it well.
Watch the trailer.
And there it is. The trailer. Basket counts and a foul. 8 assists for John Stockton, but he knew that his buddy Karl Malone was the trailer on that play.
We're going to show you Stockton at his best. Watch him come in the lane here right now. Ostertag to the left of your screen. Beautiful drop off. Send it down, big fella. And the play that just happened here right now. See, he sees Malone coming. Just look at this. Just hand it off. The big fella will take it down.
Clyde Drexler with the personal foul. And Malone trying to complete the three-point play. He does. And the Utah Jazz lead by their biggest margin, 13 points, 56-43.
We're seeing a major energy drop-off for Houston right now. And it's happened in the last 2 minutes.
Malone looking for the foul, but a good defensive play inside. As Karl Malone there for Maloney, I should say. And Ostertag, pretty nimble for a 7'2", 200-plus center. Stockton setting it up with 9 on the shot clock. Under 7.5 to go in the third.
Screen and roll.
And Maloney with the push.
See, Maloney is upset because he sees Stockton. Now, that was clever. See, as he came off, Maloney is coming over the top. Houston, no technical foul right now.
And a technical called on Matt Maloney.
Yeah, he wouldn't stop talking. Watch it right here. You see how he's using his right arm? He's using his right arm as Stockton is using his left forearm. Stockton gets away with that dribble bump with the left forearm all the time when he's going to the right. And that's what Maloney's upset about. But Maloney fouled him.
And you're getting away with it, showing me what he did here at the table.
Well, you know, I've worked with you so often. Usually you are doing a better refereeing job than me. But tonight I'm trying to beat you to the punch.
And you're doing it precisely well. So Maloney with the second Houston technical. Rudy T picked one up in the first half. 14-point lead for the Jazz. Hornacek off the screen. And this is vintage Utah Jazz basketball right now. And a timeout called by the Rockets.
They are beating them in their half-court offense. Their continuity is beautiful, but their half-court defense outstanding. We'd like to show you a play that was just smoked. The basketball was passed right here to Stockton. Here comes Hornacek. This is where they're famous. Watch a guard set the screen for Malone coming into the area. Then Ostertag comes down, sets the screen, and then Jeff Hornacek comes right to the top of the circle, and he's wide open for the shot. Keep an eye on Hornacek now. See, this is where they sacrifice their bodies. Elie gets caught up, and there it is right there, wide open, because they shoot the ball so quick.
And Hubie, as we take a look at that play from floor level, you have to wonder whether fatigue might be setting in for the Rockets, who played a grueling Game 7 Saturday, and the Jazz, who had a week to get ready for this series.
Yeah, but I just don't like their energy level. I think it's only because they don't have the execution right now, and they're putting their heads down a little bit. You know that when you play in this building, Utah is going to give you high-octane, excellent execution for 48 minutes of their half-court offense.
Mario Elie is fouled by Ostertag. Ostertag, who picks up his fourth. Got to go back with a minute left in the second quarter, and the Rockets trailed by only 44-40. And since then, the Jazz, sparked by John Stockton's three-pointer at the buzzer at intermission, have outscored the Rockets 15-3.
The major issue to me in this series is going to be, will Ellie and Maloney open up after the double teaming by Utah? We talked about that at the top of the show. Their #1 requirement defensively: double team and get out. So far, we're seeing it. Maloney and Ellie are struggling. They are 2 for 9 from the floor, but very few open looks.
Greg Foster, who had a big first half with 9 points, including a three-pointer, has come in the game, replacing Ostertag, who sits down with 4 personal fouls. And Olajuwon, respecting Foster's ability to hit from outside, this time short, and the rebound by Hakeem.
Well, in that first half, Foster with the 9 points, 3 for 4 from the field.
Barkley guarded by Malone with plenty of time on the shot clock. Barkley fights his way in, and it rolls off. Rebound by Foster, and here come the Jazz, leading by 14 points. Stockton gets it to Malone, and the foul. Charles Barkley and Malone going at it. This is going to be a matchup to watch throughout this series. Barkley picks up his second.
Now, this is just a great muscle move by Karl Malone. First of all, Barkley's with him in transition. Now, as they bring it back to the other side of the floor, you can see Barkley caught him with the lower body. I want to make a point here. Barkley cannot shoot and get a high percentage shot over Malone. Malone is getting the high percentage shot over Barkley. Up to now. Let's see what happens the rest of the way.
Keep in mind that Malone at 6'9" and Barkley at 6'4" in reality, so that's a big advantage for Karl Malone.
You stop and look at Barkley's shooting percentage tonight. He's really struggling because Karl Malone has done an excellent job, and no one talks about Karl Malone making the first team all defensive team this year for the first time, making the first team.
He just did. Barkley, as we told you at the outset, has averaged under 10 points a game this year against the Jazz. So he rebounded well. And a foul as Olajuwon is pushed. The Jazz looking for a traveling violation. So Barkley has not scored against Utah at all this year.
Well, he's 2 for 8 in this game here tonight. Now just watch as the double team comes down inside on Olajuwon. You're going to see it right there. Now they give Olajuwon the bump by Foster. Foster's upset right now. You're hoping that, you know, that it would be at both ends of the floor, that it's called consistently. That's what Foster's upset about.
Third personal against Greg Foster. Ostertag on the bench with 4, but they also have Antoine Carr to come in if they need him. Olajuwon with the free throws, and the Jazz lead 61-47.
Olajuwon is the only member of the starting unit who is playing close to his game.
And a pass by Malone trying to get it to Stockton, and another turnover. The Jazz had a flurry of turnovers in the first quarter, but have protected the ball very well since then. Here is Olajuwon with the turnaround, and Barkley fighting for the loose ball, and out of the pack, here's the transition possibility for the Jazz. Malone picked up by Drexler. And here is Stockton guarded by Matt Maloney. And illegal defense against the Rockets. That'll be their first.
You cannot double team a player who does not have the basketball down inside that painted area, and that's what happened that time.
And that may be the second one against the Houston Rockets, and it is a technical foul. That is the second illegal defense against Houston, and Hornacek will go to the line. But you're right about Olajuwon with 20 points. The next highest scorer for the Rockets is Clyde Drexler with 7, and he has not scored a point since the first quarter.
Excellent point, Dick. We're seeing some weird things here tonight. Jeff Hornacek is 3rd in the league this year. He shot 89.9. That's 90% from the foul line. He just missed the foul shot. Even Ellie, who's one of the really, truly great guys. Stockton, an 85% shooter. Even he's missed them tonight.
Howard Isley in for John Stockton. Misses the runner, and the rebound by Barkley. So Stockton on the bench with 12 points, 10 coming here in the third quarter.
Even you would have missed that, because he almost shot that into Olajuwon's chest.
Ellie hits from downtown. Mario Ellie, who coming into this game 53% from downtown. In fact, the entire Houston team has been pulled from threes. Cuts the lead to 11.
All they need, a couple of stops and some long-range bombs.
Maloney pushing Isley, who beat him off the dribble.
Isley clearing a hand away. Well, offensive foul that time.
So the rookie from Penn, there is Ellie's three-point play. Matt Maloney not only played all 82 games, the only rookie to do so, the only Houston Rocket to play in every game this year. So the foul was on Isley, and Hornacek helping on the double on Olajuwon. Ellie with a baseline runner is fouled, and he'll go to the line.
It's such an advantage when you're on the road to be into the penalty so early. And remember, Utah started out this third quarter with 4 quick fouls within 2.5 minutes. And now they're paying the price for this, because even when things aren't going well now, Houston getting to the line and a chance to get this down into single digits.
Mario Ellie makes good on the first free throw. Tomorrow night, our coverage begins at 8 o'clock on TNT as the Miami Heat, Pat Riley's Heat, go against Phil Jackson's Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, Tim Hardaway, Alonzo Mourning, Scottie Pippen in game 1 from the United Center. Hornacek now with 3. But you talked about the big 3 for the Rockets. Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler have been scoreless since the first quarter. If it weren't for Olajuwon, this game would be a big rout right now for Utah. 9 on the shot clock. Ellie is guarding Hornacek. They go back in low to Malone, and he travels, lost his footing, and turns it over to the Rockets.
That was great defense, because the defender bodied up bodied up Malone, and Malone made his move. He just stepped back. Now watch what Barkley does. He stepped back, and he was looking for the contact. That's how he lost his balance.
Rockets have scored 7 straight points to cut the lead to 9, and
plenty of time.
Now Maloney with 10 on the shot clock. Barkley double teamed by Russell and Malone. Maloney open for 3, and he is short with it. And the rebound, long rebound by Russell. Isley, Foster to Brian Russell. He's got it. As the Jazz burn the Rockets on the transition and lead by 11 again.
At the top, we brought out the point. As this game moves on, you continue to shoot those threes, you miss them, long rebounds, Utah can finish in the open floor.
Hakeem with a spin move to the baseline, and Olajuwon with 22 points. Remember, he has scored 38 and 41 points against the Jazz in 2 regular season games this year.
Dick, every time he spins baseline, he scores.
Hornacek penetrating and gets the layup. Hornacek in double figures with 11, and teams trading baskets with 3:19 to go in the third.
And a steal.
Steal Isley. Hornacek hits
a dagger.
3.
A dagger.
(68-54). Clyde Drexler forces it in there and turns it over to Utah. And the Houston Rockets are becoming unraveled.
Look out here. Look out.
Hornacek going in is fouled by Ellie.
Houston needs a timeout. They've got to step back.
They need 2 timeouts.
Yeah, it's gone from 9 points, from 9 right now to 14, plus a foul. Now, they came down the other end of the floor. They made a bad turnover. No one ran back. They inbound the ball from baseline all the way over half court to Hornacek. They catch everyone sleeping. Right now, they are laboring big time.
And Hornacek going to the line, and let's see if a technical foul has been called against the Rockets. Ellie is arguing with the officials, and Mario Ellie has picked up a technical, the 3rd tee against the Rockets tonight. Jeff Hornacek makes the free throw. Ellie still jawing it out with Bob Delaney. It is a 15-point lead, 1 short of Utah's biggest tonight. Timeout. We'll be right back. Back here at the Delta Center, under 3 minutes to go, and Jeff Hornacek has scored 6 points in the last 21 seconds, plus an opportunity for 2 more free throws. And very quickly, the Jazz, who had their lead shaved to 9, are up by 15, and they can establish their biggest lead of the game.
Well, Dick, you get it down to 9. Then all of a sudden, there's an inbounds pass after a score. no problem. They're not even defending you. It turns into a turnover. Boom, they hit Hornacek. He makes the three. You take the ball the length of the floor and you throw a turnover. The ball goes out of bounds. Nobody runs back. They throw the basketball 70 feet. Hornacek catches it, takes it to the hole, gets fouled. Now you don't like that, and you add a technical foul onto that. That's just bad basketball. I mean, what are you thinking about right now? And unfortunately, we have picked this up. For the last 3 to 4 minutes, they lack an energy session here. They got to pick it up.
Well, the Rockets out of fuel at this point. And again, as you pointed out, they played Saturday afternoon, didn't have to play till Monday night, so they had 48 hours. But the Utah Jazz can make you lose energy in a hurry. Hornacek with the free throw with 2:57 remaining in the third quarter. And the biggest lead of the game now for the Utah Jazz, 71-54. And in the game, Kevin Willis and Sedale 3 for the Rockets. And a Utah foul.
Yeah, on Foster down as they're bringing the ball up the floor. Akeem Olajuwon was in a stack on the left side of the lane, and Foster fouled Olajuwon.
And Antoine Carr will come in. So both Foster and Ostertag have 4 personal fouls. But as you pointed out, the Jazz don't rely on just one big man, and so Antoine Carr gets the call.
They'll run all 3 guys looking at it and saying, hey, we have 18 fouls here to give, and we'll give them and make Olajuwon work. And unfortunately for them, though, Olajuwon is working hard tonight, and you can see his numbers. That's right, and he is meeting the challenge of these 3 guys.
71-56 with under 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Isley, and remember, John Stockton on the bench getting a rest. Stockton or Malone, one of the 2 on the floor at all times. Malone is posting up against Kevin Willis. Good pass out to Brian Russell, and he misses from 3. And Kevin Willis clears for the Rockets. They had it down to 9, now trail 71-56.
Anytime you're a good 3-point shooting team, you're never out of the game, and especially when you got a horse like this guy right here.
And no basket. Antoine Carr committed the foul, his second before the shot went up.
Once again, Dick, he takes you into the lane. Well, watch as he starts to the lane, then he rolls back. Now you can see, and I don't know what Antoine Carr was doing that time, because he caught him. He definitely fooled him by rolling to the baseline.
Here's Akeem Olajuwon, who established this year a career-high free throw shooting of 79%. He has been in the playoffs 12 of his 13 years in the NBA and had 31 points in Game 5 victory over the Seattle Sonics in the previous series. So the lead now is 13 with 2:17 to go in the third quarter. Jazz led by 9 at the half, and they've stretched it out here. Malone is blocked by Willis, and that'll be 4 on Kevin.
Anytime that they make that UCLA cut or that shuffle cut, they pass it to the wing. Hornacek goes right off of Malone as he cuts down to the box. Malone has an option when he steps back and he gets the ball. He can either reverse it, or he can look for his own shot or take you one-on-one.
Karl Malone, the oldest player ever to be named the MVP of the NBA, received a presentation from Commissioner David Stern before the game. And he said, I'm just borrowing it from Michael Jordan, who was very classy, saying that, you know, it's time for a new face, and Karl Malone could and might win a title this year. So he was very gracious in Karl Malone winning the MVP this year. He makes the free throws, and the Jazz lead now 73-58. And his wife, Kay, and family, as usual, front and center. Here is Olajuwon spinning his way in, and a basket and a foul. Very impressive move, and one for the highlight reel for Hakeem.
I'm telling you, he's given it all the moves tonight. We've seen in the lane, the jump hook, the fadeaway. Now look, 2 bounces, come back baseline. You could see Carr spun him that time. That is an NBA continuation. Just a strong move by Hakeem. He's beating Antoine Carr anytime that he dribbles the ball twice, then that next quick move gets Antoine.
29 points for Hakeem Olajuwon, under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The lead is 12, and so the Rockets trying to chip away. Malone misses from outside, and Olajuwon was hit in the face by Jeff Hornacek.
Yeah, good call.
And who knocks the ball down.
Yeah, he's all upset except for one thing. You know, he caught Olajuwon. Olajuwon got caught right in the eye, in his right eye.
That is 4 on Hornacek. Olajuwon was fouled earlier and hurt above the knee.
Now keep an eye here. Now underneath, you see right there, as Jeff reached back, he came right up on Akeem. You catch it right there, and he caught him right in the right eye. But you see, early in the first quarter, Jeff Hornacek picked up 2 offensive rebounds by doing that same thing and a strip of a Houston player who had a rebound. So you know he's going to continue to do that.
22nd timeout, and there you see on the bridge of the nose, Hakeem Olajuwon hit in the eye. He has scored the last 9 Houston points to come within 12 and a chance to make it a 10-point game. And as you said, Hubie, when you're a 3-point shooting team, you're never out of the game.
No, plus you got Olajuwon at the top of his game. You know that Utah cannot do anything with him. The double team is coming too late. You say, well, why is it coming too late? Well, what's happening is that he is making his move. He's splitting the double team, and they don't even have to open up the 3-point shooters.
And you have to wonder whether Barkley and Drexler will come alive. They have not scored since the first quarter tonight, and they definitely need the other 2 of the big 3. There's Barkley, who has scored 6 points all in the first quarter. Drexler had all 7 of his in the first.
See, my point is that Drexler and Barkley are struggling. They are not getting high percentage shots. And that's something that Houston's going to have to work on. But this game, they're still in this game. We're only down 11. We got a minute and a half to go in the third.
Isley coming off the screen and hits Howard Isley in his 3rd year from Boston College. And very reliable, Jerry Sloan, a perfectionist, protecting the ball and playing defense, and that's what Isley does. Ellie fires it away, and it's off of Sedale Threet's hand as Isley got his hand away in time and a Houston turnover.
That was just a bad pass. Ellie left his feet, and he had no place to go, and he got stuck up in the air, and Utah cut off that passing lane.
That's the 15th turnover by the Rockets. Winding down to a minute to go in the third. The Jazz by 13. Here's Karl Malone, or check it, Shandon Anderson with the shot. Anderson with his 2nd field goal of the game, and the lead is up to 15. And how quickly the Jazz can make a closer game into a wider margin. Twice they've done it tonight. Ellie down the middle, fires it up. Drexler and Ellie fight. Here is Hakeem, defended by Carr, and Drexler hits from downtown. Clyde Drexler with his first point since the opening quarter, and the lead down to 12. There's the time remaining in the third quarter. 14 on the shot clock for the Jazz. Brian Russell. Anderson going high for the rebound and lays it in.
Oh, they love him.
Shandon Anderson elevating.
Houston should hold for the last shot here right now. Hakeem Olajuwon just getting over half court.
And he looks exhausted. Under 7 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Jazz have made the big baskets when they've had to. Drexler misses from 3 as time runs out. So once again, the Jazz turn it up in the late stages of the quarter and lead 79-65. The big 3 of the Jazz outplaying the big 3 of the Rockets.
You can see right here, look to the left of your screen, Shandon Anderson right up, and nice putbacks. Coaching staff love the energy, love his athleticism. He can place 2 guard or small forward.
The lead is 14.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the expressed written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
They were separated by the forces of evil. Now they have been reunited in the name of the law, and they're cleaning up the streets of Chinatown. Stand your ground with David Carradine and Kung Fu. The legend continues. See the series premiere tomorrow at 7 p.m. on TNT. And there is the scoring in the third quarter. And other than the first, the Utah Jazz have had the edge in the second and third.
Houston shot 31% in the quarter with 5 turnovers. Olajuwon has 30 of Houston's 65 points.
Screen and roll. Antoine Carr misses the layup, and Barkley the rebound. The Rockets with Sedale Threet and Clyde Drexler in the backcourt. Eddie Johnson is a third guard playing up front with Barkley and Kevin Willis. Here is Barkley, and he's fouled inside. So Charles Barkley going strong to the hoop to start this fourth quarter, and the foul is on John Stockton, his third.
Well, the pivot men, whether it's Barkley or whether it's Olajuwon, they're taking the ball right at Carr. They're just taking it to him, taking him strong right to the rim.
In on the floor for the Utah Jazz are John Stockton and Karl Malone, Antoine Carr, Brian Russell. And the first point since the first quarter for Charles Barkley. They're the Rockets who have been struggling. Drexler and Barkley. Now Drexler has 10 points.
Major factor in this game, the backcourt scoring. Houston, Drexler and Maloney, 14 points. Utah, Bartasek and Stockton, 29 points.
Shannon Anderson also up front. He's got the ball now with a spectacular putback in the third quarter. Malone, you're never going to stop Malone when he gets there, but no basket is the call, and the foul is on Charles Barkley before the shot. That's the third on Sir Charles.
That was a beautiful screen across the lane by the Utah guard. Now just keep an eye on it, and then what happens is right there they popped Barkley, and then also Malone got fouled as he posted up in the lane.
55. And they're going to call the offensive foul on Antoine Carr, so he has 4. So the 3 centers for the Jazz, Ostertag, Foster, and Carr, all with 4 personal fouls.
All you need is a little surge here right now, Houston. You know, they're working Barkley. Charles got to make it happen a little sooner here.
12-point game. Drexler open for 3, and he's got it. Clyde Drexler with his third from downtown.
Here they come.
And he's got 13 points in the game, and they're down to 9. But every time the Rockets have gotten it down to that margin, the Jazz have had a quick flurry. Here is Karl Malone. And the rebound knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Rockets.
I brought out a point early in the game. I said that the key is Houston's great defensive board work. That is what has let them down time and time again tonight.
Russell has it knocked away by Sedale Threet. But you're absolutely right, because the one thing the Rockets knew going in, that they didn't give up many second shots. That was their trade.
And that's been a major part of this game here this evening.
Stockton guarded by Threet. Minute and a half gone by, fourth quarter. The Jazz lead by 9, and Stockton going in and a foul.
If you are going to follow over the top, you cannot hug the screener.
Sedale Threet picking up the personal foul.
If you are going to hug Karl Malone and you follow over the top, John Stockton will go to the basket every single time on the screen and roll.
John Stockton, who had 24 points and 10 assists in Game 5, the clinching game against the Lakers, including 8 points in the final 3.5 minutes. So Stockton down the stretch, always a tough customer.
Well, anytime he comes off the screen and roll, he can make the pass, he can hit the guy spotting up, he can finish with a jump shot in the lane, and he can shoot with either hand when he takes it to the rim.
So Malone and Hornacek have 17, Stockton 14. So the 3 top scorers for the Jazz moving in now. Barkley going in and a foul called. Crowd.
Yeah, the crowd. Well, you know, in this building. We know that in this building, come on, anytime that the guys in white cause a foul. Now, right there, they almost chopped off his arms, okay? But the building is all upset. But you see, I like the strategy. See, Barkley and Olajuwon are attacking Carr. Get Carr out of there and make them come back with either Ostertag or with Foster.
Karl Malone picked up the personal, his third, and Barkley at the free throw line. Charles Barkley with 8 points tonight. Barkley averaged 15 rebounds in the regular season against the Jazz, but did not score in double figures. And there is Hakeem getting a rest along with Mario Elie.
The big issue is when you attack Carr, you force Utah to double team big man, big man. So now you have to bring Malone in here. Either that or Barkley's going to get a layup.
Again, it's 9 points. The Jazz in front with a little over 2 minutes gone by here in this fourth quarter. Game 1, best of 7. The winner will move on to the NBA Finals. Karl Malone checking in with 19 points. And again, it's an 11-point lead for the Utah Jazz. 64 wins, best in franchise history. And Charles Barkley called for traveling.
And they call him for a travel. They said he did not put the ball on the floor before he picked up that pistol play.
And a timeout. Plenty of time to go, but the Jazz in control right now.
We have nothing.
What we do now, Hubie, here is tonight's Dutch boy in the paint, and it shows a 6-rebound edge by the Jazz. That's what they had in the playoffs coming in, and a big 10-5 edge in offensive rebounding. But Olajuwon having a monster of a game for the Rockets.
We'd like to show you that screen and roll. Now just watch this. See, here comes Malone. Well, if you're going to hug Malone like Barkley is, and then as Stockton comes over the top, you follow. Watch what happens as Stockton comes in. This defender playing this man rotates. So you've got it here for the layup, and right there if John wanted to kick the ball out. Now keep an eye on it. Just watch. See, well, he'll be open every single time, especially if the rotator's late.
Jazz with the ball and an 11-point lead with John Stockton, Karl Malone, Brian Russell, Antoine Carr, and Shandon Anderson, the rookie from Georgia. Tipped by Barkley, and Eddie Johnson has it on the turnover. So Dale 3 playing a lot of minutes in this game. And there is Barkley firing up a wild 3. Russell, and there is Karl Malone racing down court. So a wild 3 by Barkley and an easy 2 by Malone.
We said at the top, his biggest challenge, Barkley's challenge, is Malone in transition. As soon as Barkley took that shot, Malone took off.
And Olajuwon throws the ball about 10 feet over Eddie Johnson's head. And everything unraveling, although the Rockets just tease you enough to contend in this game. There's the turnover story. Malone had a screen from Stockton. And Olajuwon the rebound. It's a 13-point lead once again by the Jazz. Every time they get it to about 9, it gets to 13 and 14 again. That's how the Jazz have been keeping the Rockets at more than arm's length tonight.
I would like to see Houston stop and say, big fella, you got 30-some points here this evening. Let's go to the horse and see what happens here. If you're not going to do that, at least throw it to him every third time down the floor. Okay.
Clyde Drexler leaves with 13, replaced by Mario Elie. There's the double on Olajuwon. Nowhere to go with it. Elie down the lane and tries to pass off, but a foul called. Shandon Anderson with his second. And the Utah Jazz, that's their 13th foul of this fourth quarter. Olajuwon, quick turnaround, short with it, and Stockton coming out of the pack. Olajuwon enveloping John Stockton, and Antoine Carr open, hits the jumper. That's his first field goal of the game, and again, a 15-point Utah lead. Timeout, Houston.
Now this is just taking your time, looking at your options. They brought Carr off of a baseline screen to that midpoint area, wide open.
Rockets had it down to 9. It's a 15-point lead again, and just keep it right where it's at on TNT all week long. Coverage beginning at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Game 1, Heat and Bulls. We'll be back for Game 2 of this Western Series on Wednesday. Thursday, the second game from Chicago with Miami, and Friday in Houston. All week long, NBA playoff action on TNT. Mario Elie with a runner off the rim, and Stockton has it. Brian Russell. This is the layup tipped in by Shandon Anderson. What a game he's having, and what a season for a rookie he's had this year.
They do not let up in their transition game. This is going to be the big key for Houston throughout this entire season.
Ellie has the ball knocked away, and here's Anderson. And Anderson loses his footing and is kicked. It's a foul called. Tremendous poise that Shandon Anderson has shown as Matt Maloney comes back in, and let's check in with Brian Burwell.
Thank you. Hubie, you had the right strategy for the Rockets. Rudy Tom Jonathan that last time out said, get the ball down to Olajuwon, deeper in the post, and don't fade away. Go to the basket. Back to you guys.
They ruled it a kickball, Hubie.
Yeah, the key is not the fade away, because anytime that he's been attacking the rim, good things have been happening.
Antoine Carr, and Malone gets the offensive rebound, beating Hakeem to the punch. 89-72, the Jazz by 17 with 7:20 to go in the fourth. Stockton, Malone did not get a real good pass, didn't have control. His shot was off the mark, and Ellie has it knocked away by Anderson, but recovers with plenty of time on the shot clock. And Eddie Johnson, as Anderson tried to deny, and Johnson gets the basket, and it's a 15-point game. L.E. gambling for the steal, knocks it out of bounds.
Point that you always have to remember here, the Utah Jazz during the course of the year have such an outstanding record at home. They're 38-3. So, you know, a lot of great teams have come through here with days off and had plenty of rest. We said that Houston did have 2 days to regroup. So you would like to hope that possibly right now they still have plenty of time that they can make one more key surge.
Brian Russell leaves the game. Jeff Hornacek replaces him. John Stockton leaves it for Antoine Carr, who hits. Carr has made a couple of big field goals here in the third quarter. And they're woofing for the big dog, who's delivering tonight off the bench. The Utah Jazz getting a lot of mileage from 4 or 5 of the players off the bench. Mario Ellie, this is from downtown. Barkley from Olajuwon. Barkley is only 3 of 10 from the field, and Olajuwon found him. And the lead is 15 points. That's the first basket for Charles Barkley since the opening quarter. Hard to believe.
Well, during the course of the year, the 4 games that they played, Houston only averaged 84 points.
John Stockton missing the layup. And the loose ball in the hands of Barkley. In fact, the last time these teams played in the regular season, the Rockets shot a season's low 31%.
Well, you can see why they're having problems here. You know, they're definitely doing a good job on the perimeter people.
Matt Maloney with a drive to the basket, only his 6th point. And again, it's a 13-point game with 5.5 to play.
You can't bury it. There's no moving the dirt and then throwing the dirt on the casket. All right, they still keep coming. You can see a coach who's very, very concerned. Here you have a nice move, kick back. Now, this is a difficult shot. We call that a midpoint. It's halfway out to the corner. He's knocked 2 for 2.
Rockets trying to make a run, trailing by 13 here with a little less than 5.5 to play in the fourth. Up next on Inside the NBA, Vince Cellini and Cheryl Miller will have more from tonight's game, and Craig Sager will look ahead to tomorrow's first game between the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls. Shandon Anderson will inbound. Anderson, 54th pick, the only rookie on the roster. A lot of teams did well with number 2 picks in the draft, including the Houston Rockets. Here's Hornacek driving to the hoop and is fouled. See if they call it on Olajuwon, and they will. That's 3 on Hakeem.
Well, this is a defensive adjustment that Houston must make in this next game. If they continue to hug the guy who is setting the screen on that screen and roll, then the Utah Jazz, Hornacek and John Stockton will be in the middle of the lane by themselves all night long.
Hornacek with the free throw. Hornacek, who was once traded for Charles Barkley when Hornacek went to Philadelphia and Barkley went to Phoenix. It was a 4-player deal back in June of 1992, and now on opposite sides in the Western Conference Final. Jazz lead 93-78 with 5:15 to go. Hornacek has 19.
The Hornacek story is one of the all-time best. He's a guy who's a walk-on at Iowa State, second-round draft pick of Phoenix, and has just been a fantastic shooter. The guy's worked at his game. He's a great three-point shooter, great foul shooter, good two-point shooter, good catching shot.
And a good defender, as we saw him switching off onto Mario Elie.
Well, he's an intelligent player, Dick, and he fits in perfectly here.
Here is Greg Ostertag in the game. I tell you, he can fill it. He can fill it up because Ostertag at 7'2", 280 pounds.
You love Stockton. Stockton could have forced that shot himself. Instead, reward the big guy who's running hard.
13 assists for John Stockton tonight. And Shandon Anderson committing his third personal foul. And neither team will have a foul to give, and that may be a moot point when you look at a 95-78 score with 4.5 to play. Here's Clyde Drexler, and he misses from downtown. The Rockets, they're a three-point shooting team when they're doubled inside, as Hubie's pointed out countless times, and they're not delivering on the threes tonight.
Well, they're 6 for 23. And unfortunately, many long rebounds that Utah have taken down the Florence story.
John Stockton, and now the Jazz are in rhythm, and they're rolling to a victory here, leading 97-78.
See, this great continuity half-court offense is just wearing them down, and they are not giving that little extra effort now. When you play Utah, they continue running at that pace. The screens are always there. Guys are sacrificing their bodies.
Biggest lead of the game right now for the Utah Jazz, Hubie.
Now, right there, nice move by Stockton. He read the defense perfectly. They caught Maloney on the other side of the screen.
All right, Vince, thank you very much. A 19-point lead for the Utah Jazz with under 4 minutes to go, and Hakeem Olajuwon has walked off the floor. More on that later.
Now, just keep an eye on this. The basketball is here as Stockton starts the shuffle cut to this point. Maloney gets caught double spacing. Barkley doesn't hit him. Wide open, John Stockton. Keep an eye. Read the defense beautifully. You double space, you've got to pay. It's playoff time.
Matt Bullard has come in the game for the Houston Rockets. Renowned for his three-point shooting ability, has not played much in the playoffs so far, but now the Rockets will be resting a lot of their big people. Othello Harrington in the game. Here's Hornacek missing from outside, and Harrington, the rookie from Georgetown, gets it out to Randy Livingston. Livingston from LSU, who's had the bad knee, and great promise as a rookie picked in the second round.
He's a very intelligent ball handler. He really knows how to play the point guard position. They like his talent. And let's see what happens now with that knee as it gets stronger after the many operations.
Hornacek misses. Eddie Johnson, by the way, scored the last basket for the Rockets as we get down to 3 minutes to go. And it's interesting that Malone and Stockton are still in the game. Of course, remember, they haven't played in a week. And the Rockets had a day and a half to get ready for this one, and Karl Malone goes up and misses the rebound. Taken down by Randy Livingston. Let's check in with Brian Burwell right now.
Okay, Dick, I guess everybody noticed that Charles Barkley and Olajuwon walked off the floor. They're back in the locker room, and I was just told that they're icing them down. They're done for the evening. Now, QB, I don't know. I'm surprised by that. What about you?
Well, mainly because you say, well, it's a 17-point game 3.5 minutes ago. They decided that they cannot make a run. Now, let's look at Utah. The last 3 years, Utah was in the same situation as Houston. Right now, only 2 days to prepare and play the night of the second night. They were defeated 3 straight years in Game 1. Let's go back last year. Utah, Seattle. Game 1 at Seattle. Seattle wins by 30 points. The series goes 7 games. So we know this series is going to be at Donnybrook.
Here's Othello Harrington with the hook shot and a miss. Karl Malone with a big ovation. MVP ceremony before the game, ended up with 21 points and 13 rebounds. He has scored a lot more than that, but the Jazz got scoring from Hornacek and Stockton. 19 for Hornacek. And Howard Isley in the game now, replacing Stockton, hitting the jumper. Stockton and Hornacek combined 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 16 assists. Big game for the Utah Jazz starting backcourt. 99-80 as we wind down to 2 minutes to go. Like Rudy T was telling us that they went to a 7th game with Phoenix the second year they won the title. 1-5 in the next round, and against San Antonio, won the first 2 on the road. So anything can happen. Shandon Anderson with a jumper, and he's got 11 off the bench tonight.
Jerry Sloan, very happy. Your second unit is out there. They're running everything perfectly, and they are getting wide open shots. Houston using their second unit against this group.
And here is Kevin Willis fouled with 1:37 to go.
Shandon Anderson has done so many intangibles here this evening. He's like a garbage man on loose balls, everything off the board. There's a coach very happy with his ball club, even though he looks like, you know, he's going through a torture chamber right now.
Well, you know, Jerry Sloan aware that he could face the Bulls in the finals. He was a 2-time NBA All-Star with the Chicago Bulls, made the All-Defensive Team 6 times in 7 years. And that would be interesting on a kind of a reunion. There you're looking at the Utah Jazz with a huge 31-9 edge off the bench tonight. They lead by 20, 101-81 with 1.5 minutes to play.
Well, remember Jerry Sloan. There are only 2 numbers retired at Chicago. Michael Jordan and Jerry Sloan. Number 4 is up on the ceiling.
But Jordan hasn't retired, as far as we know. He'll be playing tomorrow night against the Miami Heat. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock. On TNT.
But they did retire that number.
Yes, they did. Then he came back to 34.
There you go.
Here's Matt Bullard firing away from 3, and that's what Matt Bullard does so well. Hitting the 3. It's 101-84, but this will be a Utah Jazz victory. Last year, they lost to the Sonics on the road in the 7th game. Did not get to the NBA Finals. They have the home court advantage this time, and they'll take a 1-0 lead into Wednesday's game 2. Livingston with a good steal.
Yeah, Anderson really has a quick hop. He's very, very quick.
And all the adjustments that need to be made, and of course for the Rockets, they need to have their big 3 step up, and one of them stepped up huge tonight in Hakeem Olajuwon with 30 points, but Drexler with 13, Barkley with 12, didn't come up to the level of Hakeem.
No, and the game was dominated at the offensive end by Utah, getting high percentage shots for their key people.
As they do with their precision offense. You explained it in the beginning with the kind of plays they like to run. So the Utah Jazz with the best record in history, and Rudy T, his team knows how to win on the road. They'll be coming back Wednesday night. Our coverage will begin at 8 o'clock Wednesday for game 2. Final seconds.
Playoff basketball. You're only down 1-0. You know, it's not whether you lose by 1, you lose by 40. The main thing is you're only down 1-0. You're in here looking for a split.
So the Utah Jazz, who trailed after 1 quarter and then turned on the Jets, led by as many as 21 points and win the final score. The Jazz 101, the Rockets 86, as Karl Malone had 21 points and 13 rebounds. Hornacek had 19 and John Stockton had 16, but a rookie from Georgia made a big contribution off the bench, and he's with Brian Burwell.
Yes, we talked about how this was going to be a dominant by veterans, but all of a sudden a rookie comes off the bench and plays real big. 11 points for you, Shandon Anderson. Talk about your contribution tonight.
Well, you know, we needed a lift coming off the bench, and that's been our whole thing the whole year. Just guys off the bench, you have to be ready to play at any time. Guys came out a little bit sluggish, and the guys off the bench, Greg Foster came in and hit big shots. No play helped us build a lead, and luckily we held on to that.
You also did a very good job. This team did of second shots and fast break.
Definitely. They rotate a lot. They do a lot of. You know, if your man leaves, you just go to the basket and just try to get an easy bucket.
Okay, now you guys beat them pretty. Talk about, let's look forward to the game 2.
Game 2 is going to be critical in the sense that we want to protect our home court. They want to steal 1 here, then go play 2 at their place. So, you know, hopefully we'll come out better prepared to play.
All right, let's go back to the table.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. And tonight's Bud Player of the Game is with us right now, and it has been a big night for him. And it is Karl Malone, who had 21 points and 13 rebounds. And first of all, I want to know what you won the award yesterday. Tonight, the fans really serenaded you when